It's magical! Erling Haaland! The goals keep on coming. The man in front of goal who is simply deadly.
Him against the keeper, there's only going to be one winner, and that is Erling Haaland.
Is there anything he cannot do in front of goal with a football?
Erling became training with us when he was like 8. He was very good from the first day, and he just kept on improving. When he was younger, Erling was not small. That's a bit misunderstood around. He was normal height, but because he was playing with 1-year-old boys, he was, of course, lacking a bit. But he was skinny. He was a skinny kid. So he lacked a bit of physics, but still he played against good players in normal training, and he just kept scoring. So he developed a very smartness in the box. He had to do that because had to score, and his technical abilities was from quite early very good, and his mentality, he was very strong in his head. So we saw from like he was my 12 years old that this guy, when he will become grown up, this will be some special, because he's scoring a lot of goals with technical and mentally ability. They were just really grassroots players. So, but Erling enjoyed that part, because it was important for us to make them respect each other regardless quality of playing. So from day one, the behavior on the pitch was important, to treat your colleagues nice.
Has he changed much? Is he still the same person?
Exactly the same. From day one, he was funny. He was training a lot. He was enjoying football a lot. He was smiling a lot, and he was scoring a lot. So, in fact, when I, as his former coach, see his games now, I've seen the most of the movements before. So he also, his playing style is quite similar now than he was 11, 12. So, in fact, but it's not unusual to have small kids who are good with the ball, but the special with Erling is, as he grew older, he just kept taking the next level each time, and he just kept scoring. Both me, my colleagues, and all of his former players are very proud of Erling, not only because he's scoring goals, but because of who he is, how he represents our regions.
And his dad said to you, my son's going to be something special.
I think also he and his family, they supported him all the way. All credit to them, what they did so early. And obviously he had a school with his dad, he's been a footballer. I think he's learned that quickly.
I went to see him when he was 14. He was training then with Bruna for the under 18 team. And he was really tiny, skinny, small lad, but he was scoring goals.
You can see, obviously, he was not physical then. He was more like a little boy and skinny, so he has changed a lot.
A bit shy, but, you know, a bit tongue in his cheek as well. So he's like he was a character even then.
You had the impression that he wanted this so much. Then he was smaller and maybe was not the best player in the team at that moment. But you can see his awareness. He wanted to get better. He was working to be a footballer, and I think that that was something we saw early.
Was he easy to manage, or was he quite difficult at times?
You couldn't manage him. Now, to be honest, team tactics, movement, where he should position himself. One of those players that he's gonna cope with it, but to talk to him about that, he starts looking in the ceiling after a couple of minutes. He doesn't concentrate for too long. I think he remember what he says to him, and he understands the coaching, but not too much. He gets chaotic.
Does he get grumpy if he doesn't score?
Oh yeah, definitely. He gets grumpy if he doesn't get the ball. That's what he has to learn, and he has to control his temper when things go against him. Even off the pitch, he's always in a good mood. Even though in the game he can be a bit up and down, but in the dressing room, on the practice field, he's always in a good mood, and he's got sort of a warm, charismatic optimism.
He always looking after his teammates. He's a guy who's well liked in the dressing room, and I think that's also taken him further when he's going to the bigger teams now, when he's a senior player. Looking at him now and the way he has progressed, and obviously we had Martin Ødegaard who went to Real Madrid, and that was a big thing. But obviously now Erling have been so successful.
I had both of them at the age of 15, and I thought Martin was going to go further, but it only shows, you can't predict. We were playing Sweden. We were 1-0 down at half-time, and it was 15-year-old. We had a kickoff, and they changed the rule that you could shoot from kickoff. So I walked past Erling and I said, "You see the goalkeeper? He's far out, so have a go." And he had a go, and he scored from the kickoff. So you could see he had confidence even then.
In the beginning, he was shy, but of course, after some weeks, a month or two, he came out of his shell, and he was a joker. Physically, he was a big young guy, but mostly skin and bones. So we needed to do a screening of him and make a long-term plan, where yes, gain some muscle was one of the factors, and try even to do him even more explosive, because he came as an explosive player. He was clearly athletic, so I didn't want to do too much of the classic strength sessions on him. So we varied a lot in the gym, a different kind of gym sessions, and he was what we call like a responder. He responded quickly with the gym work, and we saw big progress. Of course, it helped because his work ethic was fantastic.
When did you realize that you had something special?
When he came to Molde, he wasn't used to the tempo. So he was breathing heavily, he didn't have the stamina, he didn't do the repeated sprints, etc., etc. So we have to work on that as well. After just some few months, we saw a lot of progress.
Did you expect him to go on and achieve what he has?
No chance. No chance at all. But of course, you saw a glimpse of like, what was that? Things that was unbelievable. He was a young player, an explosive player. No one could match him. But we knew that Molde wasn't his final club. We knew that he was going out in Europe. But going so far as he did, I don't think nobody expected that.
First time we noticed of him was January 2016 in the under 16 national team game from Erling with Norway. And then we follow him, the next 2-3 years very close. We saw a striker who really hungry to score goals, who has a very good mentality, but he was also growing at this time. So not everybody looks really perfect, but you can also see his outstanding mentality and his outstanding character, and he wants to score goals. From the first minute, he was an interesting player for the style of Red Bull Salzburg football.
The first time that I met him, you could right away see his vibrance as a person. You know, forget what he was doing on the pitch, but the first interactions with him were full of energy and big smile on his face, excited to be in training, you know, excited to work hard. That was the first impression I got, is like, okay, this young man has a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy. And you could see he was massively well-liked in the group. And I think that's probably how to define Erling is not by the player he is, but more by the person.
I knew that he was coming in, and then the door opened, and then this big blonde guy from Norway stepped into the room, and I thought like, okay, what this mountain is doing here. But he was kind of nice and a humble person, so we get along together, and I haven't seen such a confident person that age.
It was a big transfer for us for a young guy, but we was really convinced, and we were really sure that Erling make the next steps here in Salzburg with our style of football. We want to work with young, highly talented players, and we give the chance in a young age to play in the first team and to play international. In summer 2019, we played the first time also in the Champions League. Great opportunity for young players. It was not a big risk, because this is also our business model, that we are searching for young, highly talented players. And when we are really convinced in them, then we spend also a big money for them in this age. So nobody can really say at this time that Erling is a superstar in 2 or 3 years like now. But we have a big fantasy that he can make a big career, yeah.
It's a dream. I'm living the dream.